We're with Doc. We call him Doc, but it's Major David Andrews. 7 total deployments and 4 combat tours. This guy has a lot that we can learn. And he has a very stylish cane that does not trigger TSA, which is nice. So I want to start by giving a shout out to our Navy corpsmen. On the battlefield, they help provide a lot of assistance to the healthcare professionals, from first aid to transportation. You did a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And just to get kind of the injury out of the way, he was blown up, TBI, so traumatic brain injury. Imagine, your brain is like Jello in a bowl, right? The bowl is your skull. That Jello gets shaken up. So when you came back, everything was shifted.
Yes.
So describe that. What was that like?
So first off, getting blown up is very disorienting, right? And as medics and Navy corpsmen and as Air Force Medical Service Corps officer, your first priority is to take care of others. You disregard your own injuries. You disregard what's going on with you. It's about taking care of others. That's what you're trained to do. That's what you're there to do. And so you're very disoriented, and then a lot of the injury manifests itself over time, and so you don't realize how bad it is. You just know that it feels like you just got kicked in the head by a mule. And for me, the blast injury, it shifted my vision up to the left. It's affected my short-term memory, some of my cognitive abilities. So I always tell people I have an MBA, but I got blown into a smoking crater in Kabul, Afghanistan. But other parts are still unaffected. And so you think, well, this is still fine, so I should be able to function at the same level I was before. And that's not the reality. And the hard part for us when you combine traumatic brain injury with post-traumatic stress is you have this fear of not doing things properly, and you can't do things properly because you have traumatic brain injury. And until you put your ego aside and say, I need to get better for me, I need to get back to what right is, you can't start to heal. But when you combine the cognitive defects with post-traumatic stress, it's I can't remember things, but I'm freaking out because I can't remember things. So how do I fix that? Where do you start?
Yeah, imagine that. I mean, the Jello gets shaken, your brain, you have all those circuits going through, including like your vision from your optic nerve. So when you're walking, everything's shifted up and to the left, everything's disoriented. And then, these have lasting effects. So you're going down the stairs aren't exactly where you expect them to be. You come down on it wrong, and then you get a major fracture in your leg, and that's debilitating. So it's not a one and done injury for the veterans out there who are struggling with this. And it's an interesting fracture. It's called the Lisfranc's fracture, which is named after, I think, one of Napoleon's surgeons, because all of the horsemen had their feet in the stirrups, and they come down on it hard and fracture there, and the foot would become separated, some of the bones. So he had that going down the stairs. So now you got the brain and the leg. So,
yeah.
But he's doing amazing things. I want to just talk about some of the work he's helping fellow veterans. He's here with some great organizations, Lone Star Warriors Outdoors, San Angelo Support for Veterans. The battle continues, and he's making a difference there. And in my pocket here, I have some, Commando Dave's barbecue rub. So he's a good cook too. So
hard to tell with this body, I know, but a humble pit master. And for me, this is about how do I give back to those who sacrificed, to those who served, to the family of survivors. But then, since I can't take care of people like I used to be able to do, I just have to do it differently. And so for me, Cooking is purposeful. Doing barbecue, it's something I'm good at.
So those circuits did not get fried.
They did not.
Didn't-
Thankfully, I didn't lose my sense of taste or smell.
Yeah.
And then I also do suicide prevention and awareness speaking and helping veterans through.
Look them up. We're gonna, some of this information. You can contact us if you need it. If you want some good barbecue, and this stuff's good. And then also, I'm going to talk about how you weren't the best patient.
No.
When you're a doc, I mean, I'm guilty of this too. You're not a good patient. You're the worst
Horrible.
patient.
So sorry to other providers.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So why is that? Why do you think that is?
I think it's because we know the algorithms, we know the symptoms, we know how the treatment's supposed to go, but the problem is our perspective is so skewed, and we expect to be flawless and to heal faster than mortals, and it's so completely wrong. And it's so important for docs, nurses, medics, corpsmen, whatever your background, realize that it's your turn to be a patient, and you have to be patient and forgiving and graceful with yourself. It's gonna take time, and you can't rush it, and you may never get back to what you did before, but it's
So you thought you were
important.
further along in your treatment
Yeah.
than you were. You thought you were doing better than you were, and this is important even if you're not a provider out there. I mean, you hear these terms. There's the Dunning-Kruger effect, where you don't, when you don't know a lot about something, you overestimate your competence and you think you know more than you do. Unfortunately, we see it a lot in the medical field, where people maybe did a Google search or read something and they think they know what's best for them. And respectfully, you know your own body best, but it's important to know what you don't know. So, if you go down the algorithm here, it's basically, first there's unconscious incompetence. So you're incompetent at something, whatever it is you do in your field, but you don't know you're incompetent at it. You're unconscious incompetence. Then you become conscious incompetence, where, okay, I don't know much about this, but at least I know I don't know much about it. And then you become, competent at it, but it's conscious competence. So let's say you're learning dance or whatever. You still got to try hard consciously to get that competence. And then when you get true expertise, you get unconscious competence. In your sleep, you can stitch someone up. You can do your mechanic work. You can do your dance work. You can run your household, run your business. You're trying to get to that unconscious competence. So it's kind of a long thing there, but just realize what you don't know. And that is, for us in the medical field, some people who are partly trained maybe think they know more than they do, or they become horrible patients, and this can happen to you too in whatever you do. So that's a great teaching point, I think.
I mean, the big takeaway is, remember, disability does not mean inability. Just because I can't do things the way I used to be able to do doesn't mean I can't do them. You just have to relearn how to learn and walk. You get to the same destination, you just take a different path to get there, and that's okay.
Sometimes there's a blessing in the breaking, where you break, but there's a blessing in it, and you discover other things. I mean, I'm grateful. This is good stuff, and you've taught me a lot, and I'm motivated by you and the Navy corpsmen and people who've done multiple combat tours and had an injury and then another injury secondary to that. So these are our heroes. These are the people we're supporting. And he served and went to combat so that many of us didn't have to. So look out for these guys. It's a long journey for them sometimes. The battle continues.